Welcome to Madlit Musings, the podcast where you get to eavesdrop on your favorite authors without getting caught. I've been stoked to have authors like Angela Hunt, Bill Myers, Nicole Deese, Tessa Afshar, comedian Bob Smiley, and more on the show, and this year I have another great lineup of storytellers and truth-sayers. If you love to eavesdrop at coffee shops like I do, this is the podcast for you. It's where we get real, we get tough, we laugh, and we might even cry. It's where we meet authors on a different level, where every story and podcast episode has its own heartbeat. So hang out with me today. I'm Jaime Jo Wright, your host at Madlit Musings. This is your podcast for real chats with real authors about real life. Hey everyone, it is Jaime Jo Wright here at Madlit Musings, and today I have with us Elizabeth Goddard. Welcome, Elizabeth. Now you've been here before, so this is not your first go around with me on a podcast, so apologies in advance. Apologies. Utter chaos shall ensue. But for those who don't know who Elizabeth Goddard is, she is a award-winning author of how many books now have you read?
I need to count. I mean, the last count was 60. I'm sure I'm probably not at 70 yet, but
you're getting there. You're moving on up. That 100 is looking closer than it is further away.
Oh my gosh.
You can do it. You can do it. I have faith in you. But you're a 7th generation Texan.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lived in Oregon, and you are now living in, I'm looking at your bio. I'm totally cheating.
I don't think
it's in your bio.
No, I moved so many times that I finally took it out of my bio. But I'm in Washington State now.
Okay.
And hopefully it's a permanent situation because we just built a house on our land, the land that I sold from Texas that I had forever, So
nice. Okay.
We sold our Texas land and so we're in the house, and I stole the dining room from my office, with and whatever.
Yes. Well, who needs a dining room? Do people use dining rooms for dining room purposes anymore?
That's why I just thought,
for
me, the kitchen's right there,
Right.
I mean, I don't know about you, but it's like I'm cooking dinner or whatever. And so it's like a multi-function kind of thing. And so it's the perfect setup for it.
Oh, that makes total sense. I actually did have that thought, though, the other day. I was looking at a house on like this really fancy realty site. You know how it's kind of fun to go on and look at all the houses you'll never be able to afford to buy. And they were flaunting this gorgeous dining room. And I was sitting there thinking, do people use dining rooms anymore? I mean, I get the concept of like, you're going to have people over for Thanksgiving. Sure.
And
you might
need twice a year you use it.
Right. I'm like, I don't know. And then when we have company over, half the time we end up pizza in a movie or something like that.
Right.
We're in the movie room watching TV.
And the islands are popular. I have it's not an island, but it's I don't know what you call it. It's kind of an island. Mm-hmm. And then you have big with barge stools or, high chairs. Right. And then I still need to get a table. I am going to put it out in the big great room. You section things. But dining room is my office. And the extra room is for grandbabies or guests, people coming over.
Well, of course.
Anyway, Washington. I'm in Washington, and all my family, 7 generations on both sides. But funny, I've written maybe one story set in Texas, and that's because 11th person had invited me to write a story set there. I don't know why. Maybe one day I'll go back.
It's just not where you've gone. You've written books in, like, let me think here, Alaska. Was your most recent series, wasn't it?
Yeah, my last series, and actually I wrote 6 books in Alaska for 11th Person Suspense years ago. But the reason is I was in Louisiana and it was so hot. I was working on that Texas proposal. But I thought, gosh, I have to get somewhere cold in my head. And so I'm writing a proposal for Alaska, and I did.
Now, do you have any roots in Alaska? Like, have you lived in Alaska too?
No, I have not lived. I set my story, in Southeast Alaska, which is kind of like, part of the Pacific Northwest, only up north, a writer friend who's a Forest Service, and different people in the CEO or the president of the Juneau Mountain Rescue, and all these people, to help inform me. Tons and tons of research, and I absolutely love that environment. And so I'm excited about living in Washington because most of my books are set, I would say, in the Pacific Northwest. I do have some set in Montana and Wyoming. My husband's from Montana, and I've been there many, many times. And I just love the mountains and beautiful settings. And
well, of course.
So I think my brand kind of lends itself or leans towards adventure stories, because that is a huge part of the romantic suspense element.
Yeah. And you do it so well.
Oh, thank you.
So we are here to talk about book 1 in a new series that you have called Storm Warning.
I don't have the actual book, but I know
right?
arcs, but I've got, here's the cover. Revell
does
such a great job with their covers.
They do.
And I could just stare at it all day. I just love it so much.
It's a really gorgeous cover. I'm looking at it on my computer too. And I like the kind of the coastal look of the waves and the cliffs. And it is on the Washington coast, right? This series?
Yes.
Or this specific book?
It's the series is on the Washington coast. Okay. And it's just, the waves crashing against the rock, just the sea stacks, and it's so beautiful. And then I have kind of a little bit of a Gothic tone to it because, I grew up reading Victoria Holt and Phyllis Whitney. I loved the book Rebecca. I love all of those kind of books. And so I think, it fed my romantic suspense, the drive to write that. And so when you're writing a book set on the Washington coast that's set in a storm watching lodge, that feeling just comes up. And so I had to add those elements to it. And I know that's kind of venturing a little bit into what you write, only, write time slip novels. So it's nothing like that at all. But
that love of mystery and darkness and the Gothicness and puzzles and, who's lurking around the corner.
I had to add this, and I asked my writing friends, should I really want to add a ghost ship? It just seems to be fog rolling in. I mean, we got to see like a ghost ship out there,
Did you?
So I did. I kind of, I added just a little blip, a couple of blips, where it's part of it. And then now I'm on the third book, and I'm like, I talked to my editor about, I got to answer the question, what is this ghost ship about? What is this? And so that's what I'm working on now.
Well, if you need any help answering questions about ghost ships, you may not like my answers, but I have all kinds of ideas.
Am I writing a little bit out of my lane here? I'm trying to push it back in because, that's not what I write. So I have to keep it, but it's still fun. I have to keep it in.
Oh, yeah.
The plausible, credible, romantic suspense of what I write. But I like to push the edge, and I like to present to my readers something that they're not expecting. And for me personally, I don't really enjoy reading the same old mystery kind of thing or over and over again. I just want something new and fresh and that I haven't thought of. And so as a reader, that's what I like. And so I try to inject that into my stories.
So tell us a little bit about this story. This is an army photographer and a mysterious man. I mean, you had me at mysterious man, so...
That must be the press kit because I'm like, I don't remember writing that. But she's a former Army photographer. And what I did is, years ago, this may happen to you, but I had this character, for probably a decade that I wanted to put somewhere, but she was an Army military photographer. And I kept imagining, what if she was out taking pictures and she lost a week of her life and then she's in danger? So that's what I've created there. She doesn't know where the danger is coming from.
Okay.
But she's a former military photographer because, if she's currently that, it changes the whole story dynamic. So anyway, she's at the storm watching lodge to hide, and she's working as a manager. And she starts getting partial little puzzle pieces to a picture and the message to remember before it's too late. And she's been there for 2 years, and she's, been seeing a therapist and what have you about talking about her memories. And I really enjoyed exploring the psychological aspects of this and the brain and what happens to brains. I have been dealing with a lot of that with my special needs son and with neuropsychiatrists and just really doing a deep dive. And so I injected a lot of that into the story. But she meets a former helicopter pilot. He was with the Night Stalkers, I believe, with Night Stalkers. And they are the ones that deliver the Navy SEALs where they go, and those kind of covert teams. And so he's got a lot of interesting background, and he's connected to a very dangerous person. And so they their worlds collide at a storm watching lodge on the Washington coast. So I
feels like you got a few things going for you there in the story, just a couple.
The storm of the decade is coming in during the king tides, so.
Oh my.
So I just wanted to throw everything at the story.
Yeah.
And, I love to to really highlight God's creation. But if I can bring in the story, the environment,
right,
it's an amazing setting, and add all of that into the already serious, mysterious intrigue and all of that goes with these two characters that have mysteries, and they're thrown together into this environment. So I think it's just, I just had so much fun writing the story, and it put me there too. And last year we went, I live like an hour away, which is just something I didn't know I was ever going to live an hour away from it, but God everything just worked out. And I live at the edge of a Capitol Forest, which is at the edge of the Olympic Peninsula, which is Washington coast is set on the Olympic Peninsula. And so we did a research trip, and, I took tons of pictures and just enjoyed the sound of the waves crashing and, all of this. Everything. And I like to add a little bit of the rainforest. It's a temperate rainforest. It's cold and rainy. So everything is cold and rainy here.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, and that adds to the mystique, I think. So
it does.
Anyway,
it does. Yeah.
I hope that readers like those kind of stories, because I do. I grew up reading them. And the Stormwatching Lodge is based on a real place, and it's built from the cedars or the trees. It's like 100 years old and built trees, and there's just staying together. And so I based it all on that. And then book 3 that I'm working on right now, I have a mansion on the cliffside, and that's even more, and it's the ghost ship story. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Book 2, Perilous Tides, comes out in July. And again, it's a lot of mystery, intrigue, and running around the Olympic Peninsula, trying to get answers and all the danger.
Right.
And that one, most of the books I don't really plot ahead of time. And I don't know how you work, but, I have a loose plot in my head. You got to have that. But the thing is, from my experience, I know that if I go to the trouble to outline a book, I can't really know the story or the characters till I start living in that world.
Right.
They're going to change. They're going to change. They could change a lot. So, in just writing it this way with a loose plot, I just give myself the freedom, to unearth a story. And it's a surprise to me, and it'll be a surprise to the readers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so cool. So a stormwatching lodge, is that similar to like a lighthouse, or, because I'm from Wisconsin, so we don't have stormwatching lodges in the Midwest. I mean, maybe we do it. I just don't know about it. There might be one out in the cornfield.
It's a place where people go. They call them stormwatching lodges. I mean, they're open, they're available in the summer or whenever, but people will go there in the winter months, and to watch the way the storms rolling in. And
it's literally to watch the storm.
Yes. Stormwatch. Yeah.
Okay, I was picturing it like some scientific place where they're reading radars and looking for tsunamis and hurricanes and like a storm watching, but that's like literally, hey, go there, watch a storm.
And there's videos, and they just watch, because it's just amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then on Twitter, I've watched a lot of people posting, because the king tides have come in this time of the year, and all of the crashing waves, and there's tons and tons. And I've saved a lot of the pictures on my Pinterest page too of all of the waves crashing, because it's just amazing. And have you ever seen the waves where people spend a lot of time and they will catch a wave that just looks like it's a monster's face, or just looks like it's a woman's face? I don't know if you've seen that. And this is like before the age of AI, where,
where they actually like make them that way.
They actually caught that kind of a picture. That's what we're talking about. And just amazing pictures. And there's a really popular one that is a lighthouse with a huge crashing wave, and that's Cape Disappointment. And I mean, if you ever Google crashing waves, you're probably going to get that one over and over again. It's a really popular one. And I'm hoping in the future to set a series at Cape Disappointment. That is at the mouth of Columbia River, and that is where the Coast Guard does their training, because it is such a violent place with the Columbia River crashing into the Pacific Ocean. It's such a violent place. And so I've been there to Astoria doing a lot of research, and Astoria is across the way, but I'm not going to cross that bridge. It's like a huge, I was terrified of bridge. So you have to drive go around this way.
Like, I'm not crossing a bridge and going to die.
Bridges, it's just heights. And I put a lot of that in my books. They're so terrifying to me. I mean, I think I might have a phobia, because I really do get, my heart pounds, and I get, my palms get sweaty, and I just anxiety. And I can't, I haven't even driven up to Mount Rainier, because I love it. I love the mountains, but somebody, I read about how terrifying the roads are, and I'm like, okay, no, I can't do it.
It's true though. There are some really terrifying roads, and I've been on a few of them, and
they make your novels, but I just don't want to be on them.
They're terrifying. They're terrifying. You're sure that you're going to plummet over the edge and die. I remember a bridge though. Like my husband and I were in Montana, and there wasn't anything scary about the roads, so to speak, because we were way out in the wilderness, and they were old dirt roads, and every now and then we drive by an old ghost town pioneer shack. I mean, it was that far out. But then we came to this bridge that was over a canyon. And it was an old bridge. Like it wasn't kept up.
Right.
This wasn't like the county just put in a little, this is like a bridge from 18, who knows what's it. And I told my husband, I said, I guarantee you that marauders have put dynamite underneath it and it's going to explode or we're going to die crossing it. And so I refused to go across it because it was extremely rickety. And he goes, well, we have to get across it. We don't have an option. And I'm like, fine, you get out. I mean, I'll get out and you drive the truck. And he goes, but then if the bridge breaks, the truck goes down and I go down with the bridge. And then you're just left here. And I looked at him and I said, yes, and I will be alive. So I did. I got out of the truck. I watched him drive across it and he's laughing the whole way. And once he made it across, then I walked across the bridge.
That's me. That's exactly what I would do. That sounds just like me. And I did that. I think it's Royal Gorge, Colorado,
Okay.
Oh, that was just so terrifying. But do you find that as a, suspense writer, that you're things that are going to terrify you that other people don't even think about? Because I'm constantly thinking of the bad things that can happen. I know that's not a very good spiritual or a faith message, but it's the brain that God gave me. And I think it's been like that. And so,
Yeah. I always assume, like my friends and I will go out for dinner and they always know that I want to be facing the door and I want my back to the wall. And they're like, you are just the strangest person. You have no military background. You have no security background. And yet you're casing out the place. You've got all the exits identified. And I'll be like, that guy over there, he looks like a nice guy, but that's a serial killer. I guarantee you. I can point him out in a crowd.
Somewhere you're like, do you see anybody with these jackets where they could hide some weapon or something?
Oh, I know.
I do that. Last night I went out because where we live is on top of a hill and it's rural and great way to view the stars. And I can't wait for the summer because I want to get a telescope and I want to get into astrophotography.
Oh yeah.
But, I went out because I got an app so I could look. I'm trying to figure out, is this Jupiter or is this Saturn? What is it? And so I walk out and it is so dark. I can't even, it's just so dark. You can't see anything. And I heard a noise over here, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can be out here. And I ran back in the house, because I couldn't imagine what it was. Of course, my husband went out with a flashlight and cased everything. But I'm like, how am I going to watch the stars when I can't sit in the dark?
Yeah.
It's probably just an animal.
I think I'm getting to a point now in my age. I'm kind of like, I've lived a good long time. And now if I'm going to go, I want it to be interesting. So I'm starting to embrace the fear. We had a legitimate guy on the run in our area not long ago. He had, unfortunately, he had murdered a couple of people. He was on the run. He was considered armed and dangerous. He was about 20 minutes away from our house. So I'm like, oh, this is great. I live out in the woods in the country. And I was going outside. It was dark and I'm hearing something in the woods. I just started talking to him. I'm like, well, there are other victims that would be far more interesting. But if you're intent on stalking me in the woods, and I had a conversation, it was probably a raccoon, but I just decided, if he's in the woods, let's just have a conversation. Let's just talk.
That is just, I don't even know what to say to that, but I think that's just very awesome.
It's a little scary and psychotic. I will admit that.
It just shows your character and it makes you a great person to write novels. It'd be interesting to write books. So, because you think like that.
Right. It is interesting, though, when you talk to authors who write suspense, because we all have something within us that's, I don't want to be doomsday, but we're expecting something.
Right.
Emphasized by the dog barking. That was perfect timing.
Stop. Okay. Stop. Okay, Sherlock. I'm sorry.
Sherlock. I love that name. I love that name.
He's our poodle that we got for my especially son. He's supposed to be a therapy dog and a service dog, but he named him Sherlock because he's really into
That's a great name.
Sherlock and Enola Holmes. I don't know if you've watched Enola Holmes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love
Enola Holmes is great.
series.
I heard they're doing a third one.
I hope so. I
heard they are.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and you have a bird too, because I keep hearing the bird every now and then.
Well, I tune the bird out. I do hear it. Yeah, it's an African gray. It's my husband's, and he mimics everybody's voice, and it's really creepy when you walk by his cage and he says "Good morning" in your own voice back to you.
Oh, that's funny. Now see, let's go suspenseful there. You need to train him to say some really creepy things so that when you have guests come over,
you know, somebody, there was a trial where somebody got convicted of murder. Well, they weren't considering him, but then the bird said, "Don't shoot me," and then they used that as part of the evidence.
My goodness!
Yeah, it's only going to say
what it hears. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Well, you're going to have to write that into one of your books. You have to write a bird. Oh, I love it. Okay, so the book is called Storm Warning. It's book 1 in Hidden Bay, and there's going to be 3 in this.
Yes.
Perilous, so another trilogy.
And then I don't have the title for the book that I'm working on. It's due February 1 in just a few days. It's due.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about this series, and I try to, you know, as I said, beautiful setting, intrigue, and all of everything I can bring into it, and characters that have really big pasts, you know, really garbage and baggage and whatever, and then bring something high stakes into that. So it's kind of a
absolutely,
you know, it's not where they're in the city or they're in Washington D.C. and all the high stakes that can happen there. I just bring it out into nature because people bring their past with them, you know, when they show up.
And you know, it's not untrue that those places get a lot of the crazy stuff happening.
Yes.
Because I know my husband and I have done lots of wilderness camping, and he's always been like, I'm more afraid of who we might find in the woods than I am of a grizzly bear.
Right. The two-legged creatures.
Yeah, the two-legged creatures can be a little bit more terrifying.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That's true.
So now that we've scared all the readers off from ever camping in the wilderness, we do want to reinforce that the Washington coastline is a beautiful place to visit.
It totally is. It's in lots of people. It's very trafficked, you know, lots of people. It's considered a wilderness. Part of it is the longest wilderness coast, I believe, in the world, or maybe the U.S., whatever. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm very excited for readers to read the series and also maybe visit even.
Absolutely.
Maybe this is so beautiful. I got to go see it.
I know, right? Well, based on the cover, it's beautiful. And I can say I've been there. It is beautiful.
Awesome.
You're not lying. Oh, except I did not know what a storm watching lodge was. So now I know. I know that it's literally a place to go watch a storm. Literally.
And they, you know, they have different names, but you can Google or look up storm watching logs, and it'll say the best places to watch.
So cool.
You know, and
I love that.
Places. So I've always wanted to write a story with a storm watching lodge. So yay, Rebel gave me the chance to do that.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, the book comes out February 19th?
18th.
February 18th. And it is called Storm Warning, and I do have a cat like jumping around behind me for anybody watching this.
And you know how Baker has the most amazing pre-order ways, because you can get 40% off, free shipping, and in my case, it's a bookmark and a vinyl sticker that we've created with the Bible verse on it. And
nice.
Did I say signed book plates? Anyway, you get that as long as it's sizeless. But I also have a giveaway going that I'm giving a tote bag, an Amazon gift card, and all 3 books in my Missing Alaska series.
Oh,
if you pre-order Storm Warning, it can be paperback or Kindle, however you do it, and then you can go enter the raffle copter. I can't talk. Anyway, it's really easy.
All right. You go into the drawing.
Anything until if you win, then you have to prove that you bought it. So, but I make it very easy.
Super cool.
Oh, and I have a brand new website, ElizabethGoddard.com, that I had. House Creative has been my website designer from the beginning, but they just made the most spectacular waves crashing. I don't know if you've been to look at it, but it just...
I'm looking at it right now, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it looks cool. That's so cool. Absolutely. And you have to buy the book, because why wouldn't you buy the book? Because it's so cool looking. And you have a free book too if you sign up for a newsletter, correct? So you definitely want to get that. It's called Collision Course, because I'm looking at the website right now. This is what you find out when you go to authors' websites. There's all kinds of cool stuff hidden. Do it. It's awesome. Yep. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been a blast, and we'll have to have you back to talk about book 2. Okay. Hey there, Mad Lit enthusiasts. Our podcast is sponsored by the esteemed Baker Publishing Group. Whether you're into heartwarming romance, gripping suspense, or deep dives into matters of faith and society, Baker Publishing Group has it all. With Revell and Bethany House Publishers under their umbrella, they bring you a diverse array of books that will captivate your mind and stir your soul. Check out all of their line at www.bakerbookhouse.com. And that's a wrap for today here at Mad Lit Musings. I hope you join us again. And if you want to, be sure you like and subscribe here at your favorite podcast player or on YouTube, because you won't want to miss all the wonderful alerts that let you know when we have another conversation for you to eavesdrop on.